By year 5 of my mom being a vegan, she broke her foot sliding down like the last carpeted step at her house. And she was lifting weights like every week too. Like her bones should have been strong and not broken at such a bad level. And by year 7 of being vegan, she nearly left this earth entirely. She was supplementing vitamin B12. She was doing, everything that they tell you to do, right? But everything else in her body, from her gut all the way to her brain, was just plainly rotting away. She was diagnosed with SIBO, like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, candida overgrowth, low iron, low vitamin D, low calcium levels. And it didn't even happen overnight, right? This takes years. It happens slowly. And this is why it's dangerous. Over years of being in the red nutritionally from having key nutrients, right? And that's what no one tells you about long-term veganism. And let me get this clear. This video isn't about animals and it's not about ethics, right? It's about what happens to the human body when ideology overrides biology. But before I explain what happened to her body, you need to understand at least one thing about human nutrition, right? So if veganism is the most optimal human diet, why on earth does it require B12 supplements, iron supplements, vitamin D supplements, creatine, calcium, and sometimes even like iodine and all these other things that get disrupted, but we'll talk about that later. Just all of these nutrients. At what point do we admit that there's so many nutritional pitfalls that these people will fall into eventually, right? Because most vegans aren't even doing it right for nutrition or supplements. They don't even really care about health usually. Remember, guys, this isn't even about ethics. I'm not going to go there. But when it comes to human biology, the truth is you can survive on almost anything, as long as it has calories, right? But surviving isn't always thriving. And long-term veganism quietly exposes this exact difference. It's fine when people start, adopting the vegan label in their, social life for the first year, right? Because they want to feel better about themselves and really just morally grandstand in front of people, right? Like everyone knows this type of person.
Did you hear me? I said I'm vegan.
No, I heard you.
Jeez, I'm vegan.
All right.
I'm vegan.
But it's much later on in life when the nutrient deficiencies can turn into full-blown mental freaking illness. And when it can turn into hormone disruption, low testosterone, weakened men, and even masculinized women, really. So let's strip this down. The human body requires complete amino acid profiles from accessible sources of food, right? It needs bioavailable, healthy fats. You need the fat-soluble vitamins to go along with it, A, D, E, and K. Heme iron is a necessity. Zinc is a necessity. B12 a necessity for brain health. Retinol, the true form of vitamin A. Vitamin K2. Choline, brain health stuff. DHA, also brain health and cellular function. Creatine, taurine, carnitine. The list doesn't stop. But here's the uncomfortable truth that no vegan is going to tell you out there. Animal foods contain all of these critical nutrients in their usable forms. Plant foods, either they don't contain them or they only contain the precursors, right? And they contain them in the most poorly absorbed forms too, even if they do have it. And that difference matters because there's layers to this inefficiency of the vegan diet for human health. And an even deeper layer, let's talk about bioavailability. This is really just a fancy word for how much your body can absorb and use, right? So it's kind of a two-step thing here. And this is where veganism collapses biologically because it's not about what's in the food, right? Which is easy to market. It's about what your body can actually convert and absorb from that food. So examples, like beta carotene, the orange pigment in carrots or yams, it must be converted into retinol in order for your body to benefit from it. And conversion varies wildly based on your genetics. And the majority of people convert most plant nutrients very poorly. And so on average, basically, people could convert maybe 45 to 60% of raw, beta carotene material into the usable form retinol. But most people genetically are lower converters, which means they would be lucky to get 9% of that beta carotene to retinol converted. And that's the real problem. Most people are not genetic gods, right? And omega-3s, the healthiest fat you could consume, from flax and other plant sources, they only give you ALA in order to benefit from the omega-3 form. You have to convert that ALA to EPA and DHA. But the problem is, for virtually all humans in this case, only about 5% of ALA can be converted into EPA and DHA in our bodies. And non-heme iron, these plants, they're absorbed significantly worse than the heme iron from meat, even when you add vitamin C, right? And most women are anemic as it is, even when they do eat meat. So it just gets worse. And zinc, huge for guys. One of the most important minerals for testosterone. When it's contained by plant foods, which can be pretty rare sometimes, the human absorption of it is inhibited by phytates native to that plant food itself. It's like a crazy catch-22. And plant foods contain even other anti-nutrients. Phytates are one, oxalates, and lectins. Those are like the big common ones. And the problem with these anti-nutrients is they bind those minerals and reduce the absorption even further, right? So you're not just eating lower density nutrients that are in the wrong forms or can't convert, but you're also eating foods that block the absorption of the good nutrients that you thought you'd get. This isn't ideology. This is chemistry, and it's just the fact of nutrition coming from plant sources as a human. Now, let's talk about plant protein facts. Plant foods contain lower leucine, and leucine is the one amino acid that sparks muscle growth, so it's very important. Incomplete amino acid ratios on other levels too, so not just missing leucine, means less efficient muscle protein synthesis. So you're at a loss. And vegans always talk such a big game like they know what it means getting enough protein. Bro, a single 3-ounce steak piece has the protein equivalent of you eating 2 pounds of broccoli. Which is freaking easier to eat? 3 ounces of steak or 2 pounds of broccoli? Which is more efficient as a protein standpoint and nutrition, honestly? This Facebook dude called the Bearded Vegan was caught white-handed, using AI to turn himself from skinny fat to muscular on a post where he's talking about how easy it is to get protein in on the vegan diet. But look, man, everyone talks about the lentils and even quinoa for protein. I hear this all the time. But seriously, man, just look it up. Look at the macronutrient breakdown for lentils and quinoa. 100 grams of lentils is about 25 grams of an incomplete protein source, incomplete amino acid ratios. But the carbs is 63 grams, 25 to 63. That's more than double the freaking protein content. Let's go to quinoa. 100 grams of quinoa is 14 grams of incomplete protein. And the carbs, 64, 14 to 64. That's like 5 times the protein content to the carbs. My brother in Christ, these are not efficient protein sources. These are carb sources that supply some protein. That's just the facts. Now, let's address the plant fat obstacle too.
Stopper gives you all your daily nutrients, like 0 grams of trans fat, and oh my god, cholesterol.
So plant fats, they contain no cholesterol, which actually isn't a great thing, like most people think. The liver will have to work to synthesize more cholesterol just to try and keep everything afloat, because cholesterol is an essential fat. And quality cholesterol from healthy animals is critical for hormone production. Your testosterone needs cholesterol. And no direct DHA too, unless you supplement algae oil. DHA is crucial. And most of the algae oils out there, they actually skimp on DHA. And let's talk about the ubiquitous, plant fat, vegetable oils. These are like the biggest capitalism industry scam. It's repurposed engine lubricant, for one. It's bottled and sold to all restaurants, all households. It's almost inescapable because most people just don't buy real butter. And it creates a ticking time bomb of the omega-3 deficiency, the DHA. So it's destroying your body like a carpet bomb, essentially, on a cellular level. So when someone says, you can get everything from plants, bro, what they really mean is you can if you supplement, combine, convert, and hope your genetics cooperate by overeating plant mass when you could have just had a 3-ounce steak. And trust me, man, most of us out there have shitty genetics that can't convert. So that's just not optimal. That's just patchwork on a nutritional basis. And these people, they don't care about your health. They care about converting someone else to their ideology and moral viewpoint. And look, man, this isn't theoretical to me, right? My mom was vegan for 7 years. We went from having like a prime rib Christmas dinner one year to like a malformed tofurkey like meat bag for Christmas dinner once she started becoming vegan. So the change was pretty apparent to us, right? She supplemented B12 capsules, right? At least she did that. She strength trained weekly, you know, and she ate super clean for like in terms of being a vegan. Like even she was raw vegan for a couple of years as well. So grains, lentils, sprouted breads, oats, raw vegetables, even from her own garden, you know, even some fruits too, right? So the first few years, she felt lighter, which seemed like a good thing. She was a little bit happier about it, but she definitely lost a lot of muscle. And I would say the elasticity of her skin disappeared, you know, more wrinkles. Sorry, mom. But year 5 hit. So despite lifting weights still, her bones weakened. And it was apparent because she broke her foot sliding on a carpeted step in her house, right? I don't think that's normal. And it took almost half a year to heal from that. Like the healing process was insane. It took so long. And as the years went on, she made it, of course, to her 7th year of veganism, her final year. And her gut issues just blew up. She had severe bloating constantly all day, every day. No matter what she ate, it was bloating. Her body was expelling everything immediately. And her body was treating every food that she's eating like there's no nutrients in it. Like there's no nutrients in this, so we're just expelling it. She had debilitating brain fog. She couldn't focus at work even. She was clinically diagnosed with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. She had candida overgrowth as well. And she didn't get blood work, of course, until things got bad, right? So blood work came back, low iron, low ferritin levels, low vitamin D3, low calcium. And even worse was her mental state, man. She became like hyper fixated on fringe topics, I'll say. Like she attended a flat earth convention and bought the VIP tickets for it. She was chronically anxious all the time. She was health obsessed, you know, despite realizing what she was doing was actually hurting her, right? So that's crazy. But the craziest thing was she was suspicious of everything and everyone. She thought everyone was out to get her. Just to put it simply, you know, I'm going to spare you the details and the gruesome side of it. But brother, let me just keep it plain and simple. When you see your mother literally losing her fucking mind in front of you, it hurts. It hurts to know that she fell for the ego trap that they try to sell you through stupid Netflix documentaries like The Game Changers. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, famous for saying,
"Screw your freedom.
Fuck your freedoms." I say, fuck your veganism grifting ass, right where you used to inject steroids to feel like a big man. Seriously, fuck you. Anyways, this is the part no one wants to talk about. Nutrient depletion. It doesn't crash you in year 1, right? It will erode you away slowly. Vitamin B12 affects your cognition. Iron affects oxygen delivery to every cell in your body. Low DHA affects your brain structures fundamentally and how they work. Neurotransmitters. Vitamin D, you know, your mood and immunity straight up. So my mom eventually eliminated the high carb plant foods slowly on her year 7. She cut out the raw vegetables. And at my direction, I had her take beef liver capsules and she started eating pasture raised eggs. Because at least eggs aren't like directly meat, right? I thought it's a good transitionary kind of food. And the liver capsules, you know, they're just capsules, right? That's kind of how I told her. So her symptoms started improving immensely. And I didn't even have to nudge her further. Before I knew it, she went full carnivore, which I think is, you know, kind of almost too far. But cutting out all the plant foods that her body literally just wanted nothing to do with at that point. And she just ate high quality meat, deep orange yolk like eggs, like the pasture raised eggs, animal fats like ghee, and her gut health stabilized. Her energy levels started returning and her mental state slowly calmed. But it did take like a good year before I realized that my mom's mental state was fully back. So it took a while. But you know, no more flat earth and cow fart global warming crap, right? After 7 years of tying morality to her diet, her thinking that she would have to eat steak, you know, she thought it would be like a betrayal. And now she came to embracing a carnivore diet for health. And when I visited one weekend, she bought us a plate of 5 butterfly steaks for my birthday from a really good local butcher. And, you know, birthday dinner, we enjoyed it. we ate all 5 of those steaks between the 2 of us. And I actually had some fruits on the side with mine, some fresh garden raspberries. She had some golden raspberries too. So cool. And I got some Walmart as well I got some watermelon from Walmart as well. And she didn't have any of the fruits. So, that's fine. But this process of rebalancing her diet, her body just, swung back pretty instantly. And there's no more ideology or moral grandstanding. It's just physiology and human nutrition. But of course, you see the stupid vegans online and they play it up. It's the freaking identity trap, straight up. This is the game that they play. And this is how veganism becomes dangerous. Not because of animals or limiting suffering, but because it becomes their identity. And when diet becomes moral superiority for people, biology takes a backseat. They don't even care anymore. So vegans are not asking, is this optimal for my body? They're asking, does this identity make me look like a better person to other people? Does it make me feel like a better person? And once your nutrition is fused with your moral identity, then questioning it basically becomes treason. And that's when some people will double down. And that's when people ignore the symptoms they have. That's when deficiencies just become like rationalized, right? And yes, at the extreme end of the ideology, some vegans become very militant and violent. And that's not unique to veganism, right? I'm not trying to just blast them, right? This is human psychology when people grasp extremes, right? But the nutritional depletion plus the ideological rigidity, right? That's an even worse mix. It's not the mentally well people that fall into extremist ideology, right? It's the mentally ill people that do. And when that mental illness is exacerbated by nutrient deficiency, that's when you see how this becomes a bad vegan stereotype that just kind of needs to stop, honestly. But it plays out all the time. And of course, I know I said I'd only talk about nutrition on this, but we're already here. So let me just talk about this, because there's a big myth that vegans need to realize out there. And it's the agricultural illusion is what I'll basically refer to it as. So these social justice warriors with blue hair and high cortisol, they think plant-based eating is anti-capitalist and pure because they go to school for Marxism, sociology, right? Meanwhile, industrial monocrop agriculture is literally destroying ecosystems at a mass scale, like killing scores of animals during the harvest, right? Depleting soil, causing pest infestation from, the imbalanced crops being distributed. And the plant-based food industry is a multi-billion-dollar machine, probably more. It's not a freaking grassroots rebellion. It's big business, and they've subverted your mind. These soy defenders still suck on oat milk while paying a premium for pesticide water. This is big business, and they're feeding it to you. But plant agriculture is on a bigger scale than animal agriculture even. So let's just drop this moral fantasy altogether. Yeah, regenerative farms do exist. That's like vegan kryptonite. And that's the real health foods that people should prioritize for health. Local livestock, local farms, local butchers. And that is sustainable and rebuilds environmental ecosystems. But that's just another myth. The big factory farm conglomerates don't want anyone to know, right? And this, they also disrupt how small farms can operate or siphon off their ability to make a profit through government and price manipulations. Now look, here's the bottom line. Humans evolved as omnivores across continents, across climates, across history, no matter what AI generated pictures of human teeth they show you. Anyone that's telling you otherwise is brain dead. Animal foods are the most nutrient-dense, bioavailable foods that a human can eat. Can you survive being a vegan? Yes, you can. Is it optimal for long-term vitality, hormones, cognition, bone density, and gut health? For most people, not at all. And I'd love to see the vegans out there quantifying their blood work. I love it. I love seeing it. And look, guys, don't look after these vegan bodybuilders out there too, who claim, broccoli built their biceps. We all know their steroids aren't vegan, and they're just grifting to, a niche out on the internet to just get pity admiration from a group of people who feel so shitty that they know they'll never go to the gym and train anyways, but they want to see that it's possible. You can choose your lifestyle, but biology doesn't negotiate with ideology. And eating animal foods isn't barbaric. It's human fucking nature. That's real life. That's a tough pill to swallow for people born with like a silver spoon in their mouth. But it's okay. You know, the de-evolution of this vegan movement will basically snuff themselves out. Though I don't condone these moralistic idiots putting their children and pets on vegan diets, you know, stunting their development. But so many people don't actually realize how bad a vegan diet is for real health. And this isn't directly considered child or animal abuse to put them on a diet. So I'm going to need more of everyone else out there to speak out, like I am, right? Because veganism is not a diet for human health. It's a lifestyle of self-sacrifice, voluntarily dimming your own flame until it fades out sooner than it would have. That's it. So realize the truth in your human biology and stop listening to the stupid vegans who use AI to make themselves look buff so people will listen to them. I mean, bearded vegan losing all his tattoos through AI enhancement. It's crazy. But what do you think about veganism? What did I miss? Are you an ex-vegan? What happened, right? Why are you no longer a vegan? Comment below, drop a like on the video so more people can see how crucial this is and continue the conversation, and share this video with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more, you know, stay with me. I don't want to keep harping on this veganism bullshit because it honestly doesn't deserve constant debunking. But every now and then, people forget, don't they? So that's all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.